Hello, welcome back to another edition of What Makes Us Human. How you doing, Ayanna?
I'm good, Pia. How you doing, girl? Happy to be back.
Yes, glad to be back. Glad. So, what do we have on deck for today?
Well, Pia, all right, I want to get into a topic that I think we need to discuss because it
Oh,
seems like it's the new wave. It seems like everybody's jumping on this bandwagon as of late,
okay.
and it's a lifestyle. It's a choice of relationship style. And I want to talk about the P word, polygamy,
Polygamy,
polyamorous lifestyle, ethical non-monogamy.
all that.
All of that. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about that today.
Yes, let's get, you know what? That's a good topic because I've been seeing so many couples coming in struggling with non-monogamous
Oh yeah.
relationships. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
it's an uptick. It's an uptick with couples.
Yes. So let me ask you this. You meet someone, right?
Mhm.
You kick it, you enter into a relationship, you enter into a monogamous relationship with them.
Mhm.
You're together for a year, two, couple of years, right? Everything is fine. One day your partner comes to you and they say, I want to open up the relationship. I want a open non-monogamous relationship. What do you do?
What do I do if I'm answering as me?
Well, what do people do in general?
Well,
Because I know
okay.
a lot
All
of
right. I'm going to put on I'm in my monogamous hat,
okay.
and we are one-on-one and we're together for a year, and you just come out of the woodworks and say
Yeah,
you want to open up the relationship. I probably would not be comfortable with that because that wasn't the agreement upon which we started. And we've established this relationship after a year, and now you want to come throw some new monkey wrench in there. But personally, Ayana would consider it because I have practiced, ethical non-monogamy, and I don't personally have an issue with it.
yeah.
So I would be open to exploring it, but that's hard.
It
That's hard
is.
for somebody to just come out and throw that out there.
Well, that's what I'm seeing. I've heard clients, object to staying in a monogamous relationship. I've had couples object
Mm-hmm.
to it, using the rationale, my body, my choice. You can't tell me
Mm-hmm.
what to do when that monogamy is not natural. It's not the normal progression of life.
Mm-hmm.
People weren't meant to be with just one person. So, damn it, I want to open up the relationship.
And I think that's so. See, here's my thing,
Yeah.
because I'm critical of when it shows up in a relationship that's already established
Yeah.
and it wasn't. So I just said I practice ethical non-monogamy. So when I date, I let potential partners know that that's
Right.
something that's in my wheelhouse, that I practice that
Got you.
from the jump
Yeah.
because it's something that I identify with. However, if I'm dealing with a person and they tell me I want to be monogamous, I don't want to share, that's not something I'm comfortable with, then my choice to say, okay, I want to enter into this relationship knowing that that's what you're looking for.
Exactly.
But you also know that I started off this thing being
Mm-hmm.
somebody who practices
Yeah.
being polyamorous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you, after a whole year or years, have been with someone and
Mm-hmm.
have never established that that's something of your core value, because I think when people are really poly, it's a part of their core value
Yeah.
and belief around relationships. It's not a fad. It's not something you decide to do when you're uncomfortable
Exactly.
in your
Exactly.
relationship. When you're running from something
Yeah.
in this current relationship, now you want to be poly. It's not a bandwagon you can jump on. It really is a lifestyle, and it really is a personal ethical choice. And so when I see couples just throw that out as a monkey wrench,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to me, I'm concerned because I'm like, well, what's happening inside your relationship that you want to run?
I've seen individuals, couples actually, because they are having issues in their relationship, say, well, I think maybe we should open it up because I'm not getting XYZ from my partner. Right?
Mm,
That's the worst thing you can ever do. Fix what's going on in your relationship. Get that correct. Fix your house, right? And then if the two of
before
you
you want to bring somebody else into the mess.
mess, and then if you decide to open up your relationship, that's fine. But I always explain to people, don't use the rationale of opening up the relationship to try to get something from the outside that you're not getting on the inside of the
Honey,
relationship.
that's about as dumb as saying let's have a baby in a rocky relationship, like a baby gonna fix the relationship.
People
You
do.
adding more stress, adding somebody
Yeah.
else to the play. You got to navigate somebody else's issues and somebody else. When you can't handle the one partner you have, that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And a lot of times when that happens, the other partner will agree to it, but they will agree to it out of fear. Out of
Yeah.
fear of losing this relationship.
Yeah.
And they become extremely resentful. Right now we have a whole nother bag to have to work through
Right.
in couples counseling.
Honey, that's where it get messy. Okay. Because then it feels like they were coerced,
Yes.
and they feel like they kind of agreed with really, but they didn't want to consent to being in an open relationship. And it gets messy.
It gets very, very messy. It gets really one-sided. There's a lot of resentment. But I feel like a lot of times when the other partner says, no, I don't want to do it, there's also a lot of resentment because
of course, because now I don't trust you
from doing what I want to do. I don't want to be in a relationship that's limited, right?
Right.
And so I feel like as a therapist, the whole non-monogamy space can be very difficult to help clients work through when we didn't start off this way, where it's
correct.
just into the mix.
Correct. And it's so complex. The complexity of the lifestyle of being polyamorous, there are levels to it. Just like the LGBT qua community is a spectrum and levels to it.
Yes.
Right. It's qua now, right?
Yes.
Now, like there's levels to being poly. There's solo poly. There's all of these terminologies, and this is my unicorn, and this is my this, and this is my that. Like this, again, it's not something that you haphazardly jump into because you're not satisfied with your current relationship and situation. You learn how to communicate what you need in your current space or decide that it's not working.
So, Ayanna, let me ask you this scenario. What do you think about when we're in a relationship and we decide mutually that we want to open it up and be a non-monogamous couple, have a non-monogamous relationship? We try it, and then one individual says, well, I really don't like this. I want to close the relationship back up. And the other individual, it's like the floodgates have opened, Pandora's box. They want to close the relationship back up. What do we do in that instance?
Ooh, that's messy. That's where it gets messy. And I think it gets messy because expectations aren't clarified from jump. When people are running into this open relationship situation without really having a dialogue about, one, what was the motivation behind saying you wanted to open up the relationship in the first place? And two, what do you expect from an open relationship? Like really setting some standards and some rules and some boundaries and some expectations of each other as this shift happens. And also creating a contingency plan for if it stops being okay, what are we gonna decide to do?
And creating space during that time to check in with each other. Are you still comfortable with this? Are you okay with this? Right? Because we need to be checking in with our partners to make sure we're still on the same page. We're still at the same comfort levels.
And that's required in every type of relationship, but especially when you are practicing ethical non-monogamy. It's all about communication. It's all about checking in. It's all about checking yourself and then holding yourself accountable to your feelings, and then also having space for your partner's feelings, because it's not easy being able to manage a relationship and then open it up to receive other attention from other people. Jealousy is going to naturally happen.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It's going to happen. Even with the most secure person, it's going to be some feelings.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that their partners have put limitations on how they date, where they go. Don't go to this restaurant. Don't go to this movie theater because that's where we go. I mean, I don't really know what to make of it. I mean, I work through it with couples. I've never had to deal with it in my own personal life.
Got
But
you.
I do help couples work through this, and it's a lot of work.
It's a test.
It's a lot.
It's a test both working with couples and helping couples navigate through. And personally, from somebody who practices it, it's a test. All your stuff comes up, all your insecurities and your egos are triggered
Wow.
in trying to balance and trying to do and navigate dealing with different people. But for me, with couples, I always take it back to the root. We got to go all the way back to the original motivation for you all, that you made this decision mutually, like you mutually came to this decision. Why did you say yes to it? Why did you suggest it? Or why did you say yes to it? What was the reason? And going back there will honestly usually bring up some stuff that they didn't address with each other.
It will, and usually it'll bring up, I'm missing this in my relationship, so I want to bring an outside party into the relationship
Mm-hmm.
so I can get that from them. Right? Usually
Mm-hmm.
that's at the core of it. I have found.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard, people. It's not some easy fix to spice up your relationship. A lot of people choose to use kink and different alternative lifestyles as these one-stop shop fix. And these are people's real, actual lifestyles, practices, society of individuals that live and breathe this world.
In a healthy
And when you
way.
enter into it,
Right?
say that again.
In a healthy way.
In a healthy way. In a
Yes.
healthy way, full of consent, full of mutual respect.
Exactly.
In a healthy way. They practice this lifestyle in a healthy and decent way. And so if I could give a disclaimer and a warning, don't jump into it haphazardly because it seems like the new it thing to do. If you know that you really aren't open to practicing ethical non-monogamy and you really just feel like you're not getting your needs met, figure out a way to communicate your needs.
Exactly. Exactly. You have to fix what's going on in your relationship, because either way, you need to take care of what's going on in your relationship. If we decide to open it up, okay, we need to make sure that we are a solid unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any gaps that are in the relationship, we need to work towards filling it. We have to have open communication, right? Those are kind of the standards of a healthy relationship. And so once
Absolutely.
we have that, then we can talk about bringing others into the relationship. And how is it going to look? Are we going to date separate? Are we going to bring one person in and we both date that individual? How many
Exactly.
people are we dating at one time? Are you dating two or three people, or is it only going to be one person? Like we really have to have these conversations around what dating looks like. Is there going to be sex involved in these
Right.
relationships? And how
Right.
many partners does that partner have? Right. And so, because now we're getting into their
Safety.
now,
Yeah.
that person, their partners, then that person, their partners. So we're getting into, a gang of people. So
We're
we,
widening our risk, y'all. Y'all better
yeah,
check them STI stats out here. These new cases
yeah,
popping up left and right because everybody want to be poly and free and just out here messing with everybody.
yeah.
But
You can be poly, you can be non-monogamous, but you have to be careful.
yeah, Pia, you make a good point. Like you start to widen the risk of catching something.
Yes.
And honestly, I think people don't even know how deeply intimate and into it you have to be as far as communicating and setting some expectations, because you're going to have to address your triggers. You're going to have to address your attachment styles.
Yes.
You're going to
Yes.
have to address any
Your
traumas
insecurity.
that you
Yeah.
have in relationships. Because all of those things are going to come up when you are trying to juggle and deal with multiple people, multiple energies at the same time, concurrently.
Yeah.
You're going to be triggered. And so those conversations are crucial in the beginning and throughout the entire
Yeah.
process of being in a poly relationship. Because
Absolutely.
things change. People change.
You
They may
can-
have been with it. They may have been totally 100% on board with being in an open relationship. And now
They don't want it.
they don't
I'm,
want it.
I'm not interested
And
in it.
that's their right to be like, this doesn't work for me anymore. And so what do? Do we dissolve the relationship as it is? What do we do? These are decisions that you're going to have to come together and decide.
Yeah.
So basically we're saying, have a conversation. You want to talk about poly and open it up. Y'all got to have lots of conversations. Read some books. There are amazing books out here that talk about this lifestyle and talk about what it takes and talks about how to successfully do it. Read some books together as a couple.
Also, enter into communities with other individuals
Thank
who
you.
are actually practicing the lifestyle, right? And so you can have that kind of support system with other individuals who are successfully doing it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And please be honest with yourself.
Honest.
Don't agree to something that you know dishonors your spirit, that disrupts your peace. If it's not going to work for you and you know deep down you don't want to do it, don't do it. You're entering into a world of heartache and headache because you're deciding to say yes to something that you know doesn't serve you.
Yeah. Well, Ayanna, that is a mouthful right there. Because we're both seeing more and more of it. But
yeah, we are.
I'd like to know what other people think. I mean, leave us some comments. What do you guys think about, non-monogamy, polyamory?
Right. Do you have any experience? Is there anybody out there who's poly that wants to talk about their experience and how they make it work? We might need to run this conversation back with a sex therapist, Pia. We might need to invite somebody on that has some expertise behind this and can talk maybe about the pathology of it all.
Yes, that sounds great. That sounds great. What do you guys think? Would you guys like to see that? Because we can definitely
Part 2 of this conversation.
Yes. Well, in the meantime, Maya, where can people find you?
Well, y'all already know I'm on social media under Harriet Returned, ED at the end, and I'm also on Transformation Counseling Services page. So you can find me there. Go to our website if you're interested in meeting with one of our therapists, booking a free consultation. You can book right on the website. And the website is, Pia, give it to them.
The website is transformcounselingservices.com. And they can also find us on Instagram at Transformation Counseling SVCS. That's Transformation Counseling SVCS.